of owning a cafe and other heroic deeds by Beware the Chistero. Chapter 112. The Cat Dance Special! Watching as his siblings scampered off to their new rooms alongside the new friends they had made, Dobby let out a relieved sigh while Dinko-san patted his arm comfortingly. "I'm so happy for you," she told him warmly. "I'm proud of you, too," she furthered fondly, her words causing him to blink.
"Oh no, that's very sweet of you to say,"
he replied quietly, the sound of laughter talking and thrilled whoops filling the air.
"But all of this, I really didn't do anything, did I?"
he murmured with a little shrug, his shoulders slumping, because he had natty. If he'd never met Shouta that day, if he'd not been so desperate, so hungry that he'd put his paranoia and distrust to one side, if the cafe owner hadn't been the generous, big-hearted, crazy, not-so-old guy he was, if he'd not taken him in, if he'd not shown him what care, love, and affection was, then where would he be right now? He'd been struggling for so long. He'd stolen clothes out of people's backyards. He'd shoplifted whatever food and drink he could get his hands on. He'd almost met up with a seedy, slimy old man called Girin who'd offered him shelter in exchange for jobs suited to his look and quirk. He could have become a villain. He could have become hateful, spiteful. His siblings and mother nothing but memories filled with a smothered heartache and resentment. So, you're just as humble as your guardian, you know. The kitten apple doesn't fall far from the cat-dead tree, after all. Blinking, he inclined his head towards the now vibrant, youthful, and re-energized woman who mothered one of the most amazing kids he'd ever met, her beautiful face smiling up at him, that expression full of warmth. "Dobby-kun, if you'd not been brave enough to reach out and ask for help, then this wouldn't have happened," she told him, her elbow giving his side a little nudge. "As the oldest of your siblings, I genuinely can't comprehend what you went through. How you must have suffered." She sighed, her smile a little wobbly. "I'm in awe of you, truly." Feeling his cheeks pink, he opened his arms for an embrace and chuckled a little as she squeezed him tightly. The pair of them huddled in the relative quiet of the second floor's main corridor until an excited chirp of "The adult tournament is starting, you guys!" rippled over them, causing them both to grin. "I think Nezu-san said something about putting it on the big screen downstairs," she stated whilst pulling away. "I can go watch it and tell you what happens if—"
"Are you kidding?" he sniggered. "My brothers and sister are in very good hands, and if there's even a chance of seeing that asshole get what's coming to him, then I wouldn't miss it for anything. And no, before you ask, this hasn't got anything to do with Nemuni's cat dad special bet, alright?" Blinking owlishly, Todoroki Shoto felt his mouth gape open as his new friends ushered him into the chamber. A chamber which contained a westerned bed, decked out in an oceanic pattern, sumptuous pillows, and a lightweight comforter. A chamber that had 2 wide glass doors leading to a balcony. A chamber with similarly ocean-themed curtains, a desk complete with a brand new laptop printer and wireless hub. A chamber which had 3 lamps and main light, a bookshelf brimming with all kinds of texts, and walls that had been carefully dabbed with posters, kanji scrolls, and drawings across their serenely aquamarine painted frontages. "This cat plushie is custom made. We all have one in colors that either resemble our hair color or our favorite colors, so Toshiji got this one done for you. It's got your calico eyes and the first tuta, just like yours, see?"
Kirishima Enjiro was vibrant, outgoing, and incredibly sweet. There was a sparkle in his eyes and a mischievous glint across his jagged, yet not scary, smile.
"This photo frame was made actually by hand, no pun intended, from Shoni's brother's tree quirk. We both got similar ones, and we left a few of the frames blank so you can add your own, okay?"
Kaminari Denki, too, was enthusiastic and seemed to have energy to spare. Like Natsuo, the darker blonde really took after his father in terms of looks.
"Todoroki-chan, we weren't sure what kind of books you like to read, so Chako-chan, Toshi-kun, Dabini, and me walked around some of the best bookshops Tomumi could find and got you a bunch of different things. Get up!"
Asui-suyu, similarly, was incredibly pleasant. The more he heard her end an utterance in Kiro, the more endearing he found it.
"Yes, that's right. We had lots of fun that day, and when you're ready, we'd love to take you all around Misitafu and show you our favorite places."
Uradaka Ochako had a lyrical laugh, sparkling eyes, a really pretty blush that seemed ever present upon her cheeks. He hoped one day too his mother and Fuyumi would look so happy. Me, Spinner, Nato, and Toshi got all of your wall art, though. But if you don't like anything, then don't worry, because we've only used blue tack, so they're really easy to take down, okay? No one should only have bare walls to look at, right?
Bagagagatsuki, however, was proud, strong, and fierce in a way that didn't frighten, no.
No, not in the way that his father did, because he smiled, he listened, and he moved around his group of friends protectively, in a way that suggested he'd be ready to defend them all at a moment's notice. Now this one shows the main characters from my favorite manga. It's all about a vigilante who stops bad guys using his brains and not his quirk. It's so cool, and you can borrow my collection anytime you want, old buddy, old pal.
Nato seemed to be charm personified and had a flair for the theatrical.
From the way he held himself to the way he moved, Shouta could tell that he wanted to be seen and noticed. Not in an obnoxious way, though, he was sure of that. If the blonde was living here, too, he'd probably suffered just as much as he had. Potentially more. It was good, he thought, to have a friend whom he could talk to about such things. Even though it was awful and terrible to think that he and his family weren't the only people in the world to have lived through such extensive tragedy. But this one right here is incredibly special. It's all of us as cat people, see? Shinso Hitoshi, he was also sure, fell under the same traumatic umbrella. He'd asked Dabi why the iris-haired boy, who bore quite an uncanny resemblance to Aizawa Shouta, didn't share their eatery owner's name. His brother had smiled sadly and said they would discuss it later. He had a feeling that despite that warmly confident demeanor, shy smile, and friendly manner, something had happened to him and his family as well. Shouta-kun! Do you know who made that for you, ne?
And then there was Midoriya Izuku, or Deku.
He seemed to radiate something powerful, like a quirk, but not. Even the sound of his voice, the quip of his smile, just put him at ease. He tried, his eyes slipping away from the freckled boy at his side to review the large poster showing all of the wonderful people he'd met today, plus his family and himself. The same person who made the photo frames. Good guess, but no! Izuku beamed, those emerald eyes glistening. Dobby did! Dobby, he murmured, his eyes widening. That's... wow. He breathed, his tone full of wonder. The adult tournament is starting, you guys! Blinking, the spell of shock momentarily breaking, Shoto snapped his head towards Eijiro, his brows rising. Shoto-kun? We don't have to watch it if you don't want to. Sucking in a breath, his gaze once more returning to Izuku, who, alongside Ochako and Nato, the freshly rescued boy, shook his head. I'd like to join you all cheering on Aizawa-san. He stated firmly, his resolve growing, especially if he'll be involved in dealing with him. He huffed, his eyes narrowing slightly. This will probably be the first and only time that I look forward to seeing him on the TV, you know. After Eijiro's excited cry had rallied them, they unanimously decided to head downstairs, crowded onto the sofas and plush fluffy rugs, whilst the social workers and counselors pottered around the open-plan kitchen to rustle up tea and drinks for them all.
Spinner-kun, Tomura-kun, I'll find a way to poach you for your technology skills one of these days, just you watch.
Chuckling at the kindly principal, Hitoshi lay on the shaggy high-contrast patterned rug before the widescreen TV that his older brothers had connected to the live feeds coming in from Toshiji, Miraiji, Atsuhiroji, and Keigo-ni's phones, the dojo floor coming to life from 4 very different angles. Ma! I kinda regret shoving all my pop-print cookies in my face now! Denki, his body laying beside him, sighed whilst a small pout pulled at his lips. Watching Shoni be awesome is always better with food, you know?
I hear that. I think I could probably eat his cooking until I pop.
Ochako hummed dreamily from where she lay to his left, her chin supported by her palms whilst the judges opened up the ceremony.
I could really go for some takoyaki, too.
We did have lunch only an hour ago, you know. He chuckled, his head shaking ruefully.
Don't you get on that high horse of yours, Toshi-kun.
The brunette grinned.
We know that you've been caught sneaking down to the Northern Knuckles kitchen at night to grab midnight snacks.
She chuckled, her face baking, as Denki laughed and nudged him.
Slander.
He mocked, offended through a chuckle, his smile wary.
Where's your evidence,
Dominique clocked you and Dabini rummaging through Shoney's chiller 3 nights ago. He took photos and everything. The blonde menace leaning in and giggled whilst fishing his phone out of his shorts pocket and proudly displaying it. The pair of you with cake crumbs around your mouth is my new lock screen, see?
Hey, gimme that.
He floundered, his hands trying to grab the device, the three of them chortling before the phone easily held out of reach. He grew up with a defeated moan and flopped into the fluffy fibers beneath him so that they could settle down and return their attention to the 4-way split screen stretch out before them.
Oh, it looks like Shoney's made a new friend, huh?
The girl pointed out, whilst the people behind them, all shuffling into comfortable positions upon the large sofas and floor cushions, similarly commented and made predictions of their own about the matches. Blinking, he followed Ochako's hand as she pointed to Toshi-ji's screen. It was zeroed in on his guardian and a big brunette who was rapidly flapping his gums at him. He mused, his violet eyes narrowing.
Yeah, maybe so.
Sat between Katsuki and Tsuyu, Kirishima Ejiro was feeling super pumped and super excited.
The Crimson Riot would always say in his interviews that tests of strength and skill were important, that they built character, that they proved resolved, that they were so freaking manly. And now he'd get to see the man who'd helped him to conquer fractions, algebra, and the tricky questions where you had to read a scenario kick ass again. Oh, he was so excited.
Eiji-chan, you're getting pretty fired up, kiddo.
Blinking, he turned to the admittedly adorable Sue-chan, his eyes glittering whilst he raised his fists in front of him.
You better am!
He replied happily, his shoulders nudging an equally attentive Katsuki.
And if I'm ever gonna beat our leader here, then I need to watch this and get all the tips I can, you know?
He teased, whilst his very, very best friend snorted.
You and me are pretty evenly matched, which means that you're just as amazing, okay?
The other crimson-eyed boy huffed.
Just work on getting your kicks as strong as your punches and you'll be fine, alright?
Feeling his lips quiver a little, he rubbed his arms around the now blushing boy's shoulder and hugged him tight.
Whoa, Gretchen! What did you do? I promise!
Sitting in between Mitsuki and Inko, Ray couldn't keep the relieved, happy smile from her face as they cuddled together in the refreshingly air-conditioned room.
Oh, that lady looks so cool! Shoni better watch out for that tail, though.
Mimi-chan and the girls flocked to the boisterous blonde's side, whilst Dabi, his partner, and Spinner-kun lounged beside Inko with Koji-san and Nezu sat at the end, the principal's smaller form perched on the large bracket-shaped couch's armrest.
Ooh, nice blocking.
God, how would this happen? How this really happened?
Yikes! She means business, huh?
It was almost too good to be true. Shoto was sat at her feet, cheering along with Izuku and Neto.
Yes! Shoni, you can do it!
Natsuo was lying on the rug to her left, his form sandwiched between Tamaki and Muro.
Whoa! Ariel, think down! That's so freaking manly!
Whilst Fuyumi was cozied up with Rumi and Ryugo to her right, the three of them sat together on oversized floor cushions.
Whoa! Way to go, Shoni!
Chuckling at the enthusiasm exuding around the room, Ray relaxed into the plump plush cushions with a sigh, her eyes tracking the man who'd made all of this possible with a fond kind of reverence.
That's our captain, all right?
She couldn't adore him anymore, she tried. Watching as the pro wrestler wannabe, who'd been talking to his guardian since the beginning of the adult tournament, went toe-to-toe with his biological father, Dabi couldn't contain his sneer.
Endeavor, he's not even giving that guy time to blink, is he?
Scowling a little more, the flame quirk user huffed, his tightly folded arms flexing angrily.
At least that guy, what's his name, Rap or something? Seems to be enjoying it. And that's a scary face, isn't it?
Listening to Spinner, Tomura, Koji-san, and Nezu-san talk amongst themselves, he tried to relax a little. Sho wouldn't want him to get pent up. His true father had helped him with his anger management issues no end, but as hard as he tried, he just couldn't find any sense of peace when he looked upon the stern countenance of the bastard who'd haunted his dreams, who'd starred in his nightmares, who'd made him deathly afraid of his quirk and what it could do, despite Dad Might working with him to control it. Despite Maraiji talking him through techniques, despite sparring with Sho, Sho, who never criticized, only offered valuable insights, who never called him stupid or pushed him past his limits to the point of breaking. Sho, who would sit with him, sometimes for hours afterwards, just helping him with his breathing, listening when he spoke, offering him comfort when he needed it, ruffling his darkened hair.
Oh fuck! Look, the officiates are getting nervous. Shit looks like it's Cat to the rescue.
Blinking out of his thoughts, Dabi looked from Spinner back to the screen where Atsuhiro had zoomed in on his guardian, walking slightly behind an old bronze-skinned man, the pair of them eyeing the match closely.
He's superheating the air,
he heard himself murmur, his gaze quickly moving to Shoto. Shoto, who'd seen it too, who was huddled against a calmly cuddling Izuku and a quietly soothing Nato, both of them promising that Shoni could handle it. That was true, but if that motherfucker even so much as touched the man who'd saved him, he wasn't sure what he'd do.
What? He could erase quirks!
Snapping his attention to a bewildered-looking Natsuo, he felt a flare of pride in his caregiver momentarily spike through the anxiety he felt.
Yeah, that's right, loser! No cheating for you today!
Akatsuki stood up and laughed. He resumed his observation of the scream.
And you look furious.
He was seething, moving.
Oh my god, he's doing it. He's totally going for it.
Hitoshi gasped, his body sitting up abruptly alongside Ochako and Denki, their hands pointing at the screen.
It's the stance he takes right before the...
Blinking, an air of anticipation and excitement flooding the room, Dabi felt every drop of tension melt away from his as a laugh rippled up his throat. Captain Special! The majority of the room roared as one, the cafe thoughts scampering up and bouncing around the room, their forms hugging, fist bumping, and twirling with Rumi whilst his giggle-quirked friend and Gatsuki's mother high-fived, and Inko started to cry in relief, her form comforted by his own mother.
It's a good job we bet on that super move, huh?
Laughing wholeheartedly, he roped his partner in for a kiss before holding him close, the sounds of the kids squealing excitedly as Sugarame-ji and now Masani moved in for the arrest, their other uncles and Keigo-ni already up and moving. God, it was over!
Justice for the win.
They'd won!